presenting Channeling Erik's Hour of Enlightenment.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to another Thursday night, Erik's Hour of Enlightenment. And I feel like I repeat myself a lot when I say this, because I am. But Erik is my son who died when he was 20 years old a few years back. And he is now here to help you get through life unscathed and in one piece. And in particular today, we're going to talk about how to, oops, my phone just fell apart, how to get through the holidays. I mean, so many of us struggle during this time of year, whether it's feeling lonely, missing a loved one, or more. So for this week's radio show, Erik wants to talk about how to hold on when life is hard and how to get through the holidays. But first, I want to introduce his spirit translator, Kim Babcock. Hey, Kim, what's up?
Hello there. Hey, everybody. Yeah, last week on our show, if you guys remember, our very last caller had a request.
Erik. His name was Erik.
And his request was to do a show channeling Erik and asking him how to get through when life sucks, when life is tough, whether it's going through the holidays and you're broke or you're missing your girlfriend, missing a loved one, whatever it may be, whatever you're going through. We're going to bring guidance from Erik to help you guys get through, how to get through and how to hold on until things get better, until life seems easier. So that's what tonight's show is all about. And I'm more than pleased and honored to be here for you guys. Listen up, because as you guys know, Erik is very blunt. He's very forward, and he does not spare in any way with the information that he provides you guys. So I hope that it helps you guys. I know it does me. And he is ready and willing. But first, he does a drum roll, and he says, "Hi, Mama." So,
hi, sweetie.
Greetings,
I love
Mama,
you.
like always.
I love you. And toward the end of the show, we'll be sure to give you guys Kim Babcock's information so you can get in touch with her. But, hey, sweetie, I love you. And Christmas time, it is hard for me as your mother because I don't have you to make you sit in my lap like I used to do, or to hug you or kiss you or tell you to do your homework and things like that. So I can speak from personal experience that it is a very difficult time.
He says, "I know," because it's he's acknowledging you and many other people's thoughts. It's how come when we go through the holidays we seem to fixate on our losses, even if it has been years? How come? And he says, I want to answer that for you guys. When we go through the holidays, why it seems to be more difficult than any other regular day of the week or the month. He says, the thing that's special about holidays, no matter what holiday it is we take time to slow down, he says, and be mindful and acknowledge the things that are important to us. Most of the time, that's friends and family. And when you've gone through a loss, that's where you bring in that acknowledgement, he says. So it's slowing down, he says, because I know so many people of you are asking, how come especially through the holidays it hurts the most? Because traditionally, he says, and conditionally, as a people, he says, we're used to gathering with our friends and family over the holidays. And when we've gone through losses, not only are we acknowledging what we're grateful for and who we're grateful for, but too, in that we are acknowledging the losses we've gone through. So he says, but nonetheless, Mom, he says, in whatever ways you're thinking of us and keeping our memory with you through the holidays, we're appreciative, we're there, we're grateful in it. He says, so don't stop your efforts. And he's kind of talking across the board to everybody listening. He says, but I know it's hard when, even if it's something different beyond that, he says, if it's not the loss of a loved one you're dealing with, but maybe the loss of a job. He says, maybe your car took a shit. Now you don't have a car and you don't have money.
It's okay. Trump's going to get one for you. Ha ha ha. Just kidding.
I don't know what that.
Go ahead.
I don't know what that's in reference to, but sounds funny.
No, Trump will get you a job. He says he's going to get everybody jobs. So.
Oh, gotcha. Now it's coming back around and hitting me right in the face. You guys know me. I don't get jokes because I'm too slow for that stuff. But Erik says, no matter what you're going through and whatever it is that's making life difficult, he wants to approach giving you guys guidance from two different perspectives. First, of course, he says the spiritual perspective, and then the earthly material perspective. He says it doesn't matter what you go through, what you're experiencing, what your circumstances are, and he's laughing when he says this because as he's saying this, he's like, I know circumstances are an illusion anyway. They're just projections of your consciousness. But then we react and we become victims of our own consciousness or lack thereof, Mom. He says.
Victims of our own illusion. Wow. That's pretty heavy.
Yeah. And he says it's a very vicious cycle because we react, we engage, and so on and so on. But he says the most important thing, he says, you guys all know that time is an illusion. So on the spiritual basis of suffering and pain, the only real reason, he says, okay, well, two. And it's funny how he puts up two fingers. It's like asking a little kid to put up two fingers, like it's hard to get those two fingers to stand up. So anyway, he's like holding up two fingers. He's like, okay, two things. First, you have to focus on where you're placing your awareness. If there's pain, your awareness is not connected to your consciousness right now. You're thinking about what's to come. You're thinking about the future and your regrets, he says. So spiritually, the most important thing is just to settle in the present moment, just to be right here, right now with yourself. That's all you can do. He says that's all you can do. When you do that, he says, I hope you see what's happening. Okay, just follow me for a minute. He says, as you settle in yourself, I hope you see what's happening. You're falling back into and regaining your personal power. But he says, as soon as you worry about the what ifs or how's it going to be, or even the regrets, you're giving your personal power away in your sense of security in that. So first of all, be present with yourself. That's the spiritual side. Now the earthly side, he says this is a whole different ballgame. When you're going through shit, he says, whether it's the loss of a job, a loved one, money's super tight and you can't give through the holidays like you wish you could or you wanted to, he says being able to, again, physically be present with yourself and with others is more important. It's not money and it's not circumstances and conditions that will make you happy. That happiness, he goes, that's why you're here in the first place. That's why you're miserable in the first place, because you let your happiness fall contingent upon circumstances. Now those circumstances died, they passed away and they're gone, and here you are, unhappy. He says, so let go of the desire, the urge to put your happiness contingent upon. He's writing this big letter, contingency upon, and he stamps it, and the stamp says circumstances. So when your happiness, when you can be within that.
Or people also. Having them dependent on people, too. People and circumstances.
Yeah, exactly. And expectations. He says we expect people to act and react certain ways. And essentially, again, we're giving away our personal power. When we do, we become hopeless. And we feel helpless because of it, he says. So what's more important is to, again, be with yourself and give yourself in whatever ways you can. Maybe it's just an ear so you can listen to somebody and make somebody else feel valid in listening to them. Give conversation. When life is tough, he says, and you feel down on yourself and you begin to carry the weight of the world on your shoulders, the only reason why it sucks is because you make it suck. He says people have to be able to be honest enough with themselves to take that responsibility, to realize that you're reacting that way. It only sucks because you have the ability to process, to analyze, to think, and to respond. You have that level of consciousness to go through that thought process. And if you choose to respond in a way that says, this doesn't feel good, this sucks, this is shitty, and I'm down on myself, or whatever it may be, you're choosing to react that way, so you have to take responsibility for that. Nobody else can do that for you. But he says, even if you take, he's talking a lot on this. So whoever suggested this, was it Erik last week? Whoever suggested this topic, our Erik is pumped up about it. But he says, anyway, he says, as you take responsibility, it might trigger anxiety, it might trigger emotions like anger and frustration, but at least you don't feel hopeless anymore. You can let it out. Let yourself be angry for a little bit, but don't unpack your bags and stay there. He says, move on. If you feel stuck and stagnant in it, it's because you're choosing that. You keep going back to it in your mind, in your thoughts, in your heart, wherever, he says. It's time we, all of us, take responsibility for the way that we act and react. So on the spiritual level, guys, he's encouraging you to be as consciously connected with yourself in the present moment as you can, so that you don't become victims of your own illusions and expectations. And on the physical side, just show up for yourself and for others. If that's all you can do, at least you're not hopeless in it. You still have you. That's all that matters. Like he said, conditions, circumstances, things, and even people pass away. So don't let your happiness reside there and be contingent upon those things, because then you'll wind up right here again, feeling frustrated or hopeless.
Do you have any practical tips that will help people through the holiday? I mean, I do understand the philosophical ones, and that's important, but I think we as humans need also some very specific practical tips to help us hold on and get through this.
He says engaging, like get out and engage. Because if life is shitty, money's tight, and it seems like everything sucks, at least if you still get out and engage with other people, engage in other, just go sit at a bar, have a couple of drinks with some friends, listen to music, whatever it may be, that's going to help keep your vibration higher, because at least you're not sitting at home, again, becoming a victim of your own thoughts and punishing yourself through your thoughts. So he says, if nothing else, he says, get out and be with friends, be with people, get out and do things. And again, you don't have to spend money. He's like, go sit with your friends, go sit outside. He says, doing is important, because through doing you can help pull yourself out of that hole where you forget how to be, he says. So hopefully that makes sense to you guys. I hope that you guys can follow him.
That's great.
Sometimes he gets really deep, but he's really passionate about this because I think everybody can relate to what he's talking about. So
engage, connect to people. We are all one. We are all part of the collective, and we do best when we connect to others. Connection is such a human experience. It's such an important part of the human experience. So when we connect to the hearts of others, the souls of others, then things do seem to get better.
He says we do, Mom. We engage in new thought patterns. We engage in new behavioral patterns when we when we hang out with our friends, when we, change up our environment, we change our vibration too. It's a mutual, energy exchange. It's a mutual interaction.
Right.
So,
and we also share different perspectives. We can see the perspectives of others that may knock us out of that dark hole that we're in. So I think that's awesome, Erik, and I think you've really helped us. I want to, before I forget, wish everybody a very happy holiday before we take callers. I also want to wish a happy holiday to liveparanormal.com, who allows us to have this radio show for you guys. So thank you, liveparanormal.com. You guys need to check them out. They have some awesome shows. Erik, are you ready to take callers?
He's like, he says, awesome, Mom. He says, I'm ready. And he's playing Surfin' USA. I think that's the name of the song by, the Beach Boys. Is that who sings that? I have no idea why.
Yeah,
he's just acting like he's surfing, so he's goofing off. But he's ready, and I'm ready, and I'm ready to take your guys' calls. Let's do it.
Okay, I want to remind everybody so we can get as many callers as we can on the line for the show. I want you to only please ask just one question, because, if it were me, I'd be able to talk for hours to Erik, but we can't do that, in all fairness to other people. So let me take one from the 210 area code. I think it's San Antonio. Let me see. Let me click again. It's not working. 210 area code. Are you from San Antonio?
Yes, ma'am. How are you?
Oh, my God, I guessed it right. Hi, what's your first name?
Jenny.
Jenny,
welcome,
hi, Jenny.
Hi, I want to thank you for the message. It was very beautiful, and whoever brought that up, that was awesome. And I wish you guys a Merry Christmas. And I just want to ask a quick question. I just want to, I'm currently at a job right now, and I just want to ask Erik, is everything going to work out of this job, or am I going to end up somewhere else?
He says, he's kind of laughing. He says, this job, you're going to stick with this job for a while. He says you're going to settle in, which I don't feel like you feel settled in right now. But he shows you, he shows the work or the job title, the duties, pulling a lot from you, asking a lot of you, and demanding a lot of you. So it seems like, but it's for the good. It seems like this job or this position is going to demand a lot from you, but it's going to foster your growth. Not just as a professional, but more so on the level of believing in your own capabilities. So I wouldn't be surprised if things pick up quickly as far as the duties that you're responsible for, because Erik shows it being very fast-paced. It seems like it's going to be quick or pick up quickly and ask a lot of you, but in that you're going to grow and excel. So it seems like you are right where you need to be.
Most of the job?
I'm sorry?
What was that, Elisa?
Do you have any tips, Erik, on how she can make the most out of this job?
He says to, this is interesting. He says to, take the road less traveled, think out of the box, and he keeps using the word unorthodox. He makes me feel like you, Jenny, you're an innovative person, an innovative thinker. You take the initiative, but in a very unexpected way. So see that of yourself and allow that of yourself. Because I think, you may have duties to meet, requirements to meet, but I think you're going to meet them in unorthodox ways. It seems like you're going to bring just a new level, these are Erik's words, a new level of game to your job. It just seems like, let's say, for example, there's a field of nurses, and you come in and you do your job in a completely different way, but still, what's accepted. It just seems like you're going to, people will take notice of you because of it. So don't be afraid to be different, basically, is what he's saying. So to make the most of it.
How long do you think she'll be at this job?
He's showing a couple of years. He's holding up the number 2, and I don't think he's acknowledging 2 months. I think it's going to be at least a couple of years. But but you're someone, Jenny, he says that you're someone that needs challenge or challenged to feel motivated or to thrive, basically. You're someone that continually needs to move forward in what you're doing to thrive. So if you become jaded, look again within yourself for ways to grow. But I think that's down the road. So it seems like you're going to hit the floor running.
Well, awesome. Well, I appreciate that. That's me, Dr. Med, who is that your son was moving my door back and forth this morning, and he popped the top of the milk carton off at me the other day. So I'm constantly seeing what he's doing. But no, it was a good thing. He likes me to. No, it was a good thing. I just want you to know he's there and he's present with me because I appreciate it, and he likes me to acknowledge what he does, his pranks. So we notice them, and I appreciate them. So.
Awesome.
That's weird because, for some reason, he's on this kick of opening our doors, too. Our cabinet doors.
Cool.
He just does it all the time. And guess what? You hear this beeping sound? That's Erik. Every time I have a radio show, I've got these timers in my drawer. I've never touched them and always, turns them on during the show. Stop it, Erik.
Oh, that's very funny.
No, we enjoy them. I just do that. So, but we appreciate it. Thank you all so much.
You're welcome. Merry Christmas, Jenny.
Happy holidays.
Merry Christmas. You too.
Oh, that's awesome. All right, let's take one from the 302 area code. Hey there. How are you?
Hello.
Hi. What's your first name and where are you from?
Oh, my gosh. I got through. I can't believe it. Hi. Happy holidays, Kim. Happy holidays. Elisa, happy holidays.
Hello.
Eric.
Welcome, and Merry Christmas to you, too.
Thank you. My name is Olivia. I'm calling from Delaware. I feel like I just won the lottery. First of all, thank you, Erik, so much for your pranks. I know you've been with me, brother, because I feel your energy. And I'm just excited that I got through to you guys. So I'm just going to give Erik the floor as to whatever message he wants to give to me. I had so many questions, but your message tonight was so on point that I just felt like, okay, well, I'll just let Erik have the floor.
Sure.
That's what you wish for, girl. Go ahead,
awesome.
Erik.
Yeah, when people give Erik the floor, he takes full advantage.
Take off with it.
But it's interesting. Even before you said you were going to give him the floor, he's giving advice. Like, he's suggesting a couple things. But it's funny because he keeps calling you dude. And I'm like, she's a lady. He's like, I don't care. He's like, tell her I said, what's up, dude? So no, he's very friendly with you. But the entire time that you've been talking, he keeps showing me images of, aromatherapy. He sees, this is what he says, this is why. First of all, he's highly suggesting you incorporate aromatherapy, begin to utilize aromatherapies for many reasons, but primarily because I feel like this might sound cliche, but I feel like you are ready to move to the next level within yourself of awareness. Of course, this is a heightened state of consciousness, but it's developing your awareness of self. And he says that you're a person of tangibility. We all are to some degree. And with you, he says that you're very responsive to aromatherapies. So whether it's, he goes, whether it's rubbing smelly oils all over your body, putting them in your bath, or burning incense, or burning candles, or whatever that are, enlightening to you, he says, go for it. Get your
what does she
smell
need
on.
that for? Is there anything specific she needs it for?
Yeah, he was saying for her specifically, it seems like in her spiritual growth, she's ready to move, like he was saying, to the next level of awareness and kind of looking for that umph. And he's showing, aromatherapy for you, he says for anybody really, but for her especially, will help to relax, to calm, and quiet the mind so that the awareness can grow, so that the self, the level of consciousness can evolve. So sometimes it's the aromatherapy that quiets the mind, and that's kind of what he's encouraging for you.
Any particular smell?
What's that? Any particular smell?
Yeah.
He's referring to two different types of smells. For you, he says to lean towards citrus or wood. I know it sounds strange, but like cedar wood.
Nope.
Yeah.
Oh my God! I just thought wood right before you said that. I think I'm channeling you, Erik. That's so cool.
Yeah. See, so he's saying that those, and even combine them, he said, would be amazing for you. So he says create your own scent, like orange wood, burn orange and some sort of wood. Wood-based smell, I think, is going to be really stimulating but calming at the same time. It's just like, he says, Mom, it's just like how people listen to music and it stimulates their consciousness or their meditative state, but it's calming. So just like, people get massages or take hot baths for relaxation, aromatherapy is going to be your thing, he says. So
that's awesome. Is there any other big piece of advice for her, like from her higher self, or if you could give her one of the biggest pieces of advice, what would it be?
This is interesting. He says, don't allow yourself to get to become riddled with others. Like, I feel like you're going to be one of those people, based on what he's showing, that other people tend to come to you and give you their life story and, like, dump their garbage on you, like, oh, here's my crappy day and here's all the shit that happened to me today. So when that happens, when people start dumping on you in that way, he says don't allow yourself to become riddled with other people's dysfunctions.
Oh, wow.
This is what he said. He said dysfunctions, and then he said fuck-ups, and then he said dysfunctions. So he's just literally making up words right now. But that's the Erik that we know best.
What? He said dysfunctions?
He's just like, literally he's entertaining himself. He thinks he's funny.
I totally get him. And Elisa, your leading questions were so on point and perfect because Erik is so right. People come to me all the time and dump their stuff on me, and it weighs me down. And there are times where I get so overwhelmed. I'm like, oh my goodness, this world is so full of, shit. Sometimes I just want to get out.
Yeah.
Hold on to emotional resources, girl. Don't give all your emotional resources away. Set your boundaries.
Exactly.
You come first. You're no good to anybody if you just wear yourself away. So, just say, look, dude, I can't listen to this right now. I'm not in a place where that's good for me, so go to somewhere else. Go somewhere else.
Go somewhere else.
Talk to the bartender, whatever.
He says don't let yourself get riddled with all their dysfunctions because you can absorb that.
Now. Yeah, don't feel guilty about saying, look, I can't listen to this now. I'm not in a place where I'm able to do that. I love you, but it ain't happening.
He says to tell you that if you can't tell somebody to bug off, he says, then at least they'll get the hint if you give them a cold, short answer. Like, I don't know what to tell you, man. That's literally what he's saying to you. He's like, if you can't have balls enough to say, listen, I can't help you, he's like, they'll get the message if you just keep your answer short. So, just a little tip from Erik.
How about just saying, well, thank you. Good luck with that. That's always a good one, too.
I love it. Thank you so much.
Better you than me. That's a good one, too.
Yeah. But
I'm just kidding.
He's saying, Elisa, to kind of build on what you were saying, like don't give away your emotional resources. He says, because literally if you don't know what to say, if you don't have advice to give them, but you try anyway, you are pulling from your own pool. And, basically, therefore, it's a mutual exchange, so you're absorbing their garbage and giving away your stuff. So he says, don't give away your good stuff and don't absorb their garbage.
I'm so glad you called in. I think it's very important that you called in. I'm so glad you did.
I think so, too. I think a lot of people are going to be able to relate to that.
I'm so glad I did too. Thank you so much, both of you, all three of you, everyone. Thank you so very much.
You're so welcome.
Again, happy holidays to you guys, and I look forward to all the messages, the future messages. I do have also a request, if I may. At some point, if ever Erik, is able to talk about the illusion of time and how we're, the convergence of like timelines, so to speak, I would be really, really appreciative, because there's
what a great subject.
Oh, that's such a fascinating
subject.
The mind bender too.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
Well, thank you for calling in.
Bye.
Thank you so much.
So now it's my time to do a station identification. I must be dutiful. And that is, thank you, liveparanormal.com, for giving us a way to, take over the airwaves and bring messages and hopefully hope and inspiration to you guys. All right, let's see. Let's talk to somebody from the 832 area code. I think you're from Houston or thereabouts. How are you?
Hey guys, can you hear me?
How you doing? Yeah.
Pretty good, thank you, Lisa. Yep, you got it right. This is Val from Houston. Thank you guys for taking my call.
Awesome. Welcome.
Well, you are so welcome. I'm glad you called in. What you got for our Erik?
Yeah, absolutely. So, Erik, I have a question for you. I got offered a job opportunity to work with a team, and I'm usually doing my own thing. So I said that I would make a decision by Monday. So I was wondering if maybe he could give me some insight and guidance, because I'm kind of on the fence, if I should go or kind of stick with what I've been doing.
Oh, this is a tough one. It's anytime there's an opportunity, we always think, well, we should take it. He's giving me a lot of apprehensive energy, but it doesn't mean no. It doesn't mean don't take it. This is what he's saying to you. He says what's most important, first of all, is for you to always honor and uphold your ability. And he wants everybody to listen to this, because it is, he says, it's an important element for all of us to thrive. So anyway, he says, for you to have creative leverage is key. And if this is going to close down on that, he's raising his eyebrows, and he's really serious. He says, I think you should reconsider, because I feel like you're somebody who needs creative freedom or creative leverage of some element, of some level, really, to be happy and to thrive, be motivated, and to move forward, he says. So if this is going to restrict that in some ways, at least discuss it. Put it on the table and ask. It's almost like he's literally almost showing you coming back with a counter offer. Okay, I'll take this position upon these.
But I get creative directorship.
Yeah.
Well, we're in negotiations. We're literally in negotiations right now. So, by Monday, I have to say exactly on what terms if I do accept it. So it's funny you said that.
Gotcha. Yeah, it's.
So
he shows me
Erik, do you think if she says I need creative input, an X, Y, Z, and this is the way I want to run it, and I want this kind of reign to do what I need to do you think she would be happy in that job?
He says yes, she would, and I think that they would be compliant. But it seems like what's needed right now, not from them, but from the universe, is for you to claim your the place where you thrive. And I think that you're going to detail that on paper to them and say, this is what I need. I need creative leverage, creative freedom to this degree to be able to do this, that, and the other, or whatever it may be. And I think that they're going to be compliant, okay, no big deal kind of thing. So it seems like it's going to be an opportunity for growth. And Erik is even saying, I feel like when they agree, I feel like it's going to hit you whoa, okay, oh my gosh, now now what? Almost feeling overwhelmed or like this is bigger than you. I don't mean to insult you in any way.
You have free reign. Yeah, you have free reign. That's kind of scary.
Yeah, but he's encouraging you. He says, if it doesn't, just like we've always heard, if it doesn't scare you, your goals aren't big enough. I think
exactly.
I think you're going to get to that point with this opportunity that it's scary enough to push you to your best, to make you grow. So I think it's going to be a good thing. Just make sure you detail to them the creative needs that you have.
Sounds exciting.
Okay, amen.
Hey, email us what happens, okay?
I sure will, Lisa. Well, thank you guys. Thanks, Kim. Thank you, Erik. Happy holidays to you guys.
Welcome. You're welcome. Best wishes to you.
Stella Houstonian, come to my home during the Channeling Erik thing on the January 20th. Come hang with us.
That would be awesome.
I am. I'm registered. I'm coming. I'll see you guys.
I can't wait.
Oh, cool.
Okay, you can hug. See you then, girl.
Awesome.
All right, I'll see you guys.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
We'll talk about that event later because it's going to be awesome. Here is one from an international area code. Hi there. How are you doing? Can you hear me?
Hello?
Hi.
Hello?
How are you? What's your name and where are you calling from?
Are you talking to Carol from London? That's me.
Yes, ma'am.
Welcome.
I sure am. Hi, Carol.
Oh, wow. Oh, okay. Last week on Thursday, I had a reading with Alison Ailfin Allen, and she said that my 20-year-old daughter, Bryony, is hanging out with Erik. And I should try EVP.
Oh, yeah. So what do you think, Erik?
I'm so shocked to get through.
I'm so glad you did, Betty.
Erik says right now, first of all, he's acknowledging where you are emotionally to validate a connection with you.
Thank you.
He shows you being in a place of, I feel like literally holding on to any thread I can reach, holding on to any thread of hope that I can grab onto, to feel like I have a connection, to be able to restore hope and also faith and inner peace in knowing that she's okay.
Yes.
So Erik shows you very much in great despair. That's what he calls it. Now,
Carol, I want to give you
yearning,
a hug.
I know.
Thank you.
Yearning for that connection with her and longing for feeling it. He says, and he has a very soft tone as he speaks to you. He says, be very, very mindful of your expectations and how that can actually hinder the connection and how that can hinder the process. So
yes, expectation is an energy, and it's a very dense one. So it's really, really hard for our loved ones to vibrate at such a light and high energy. It's really hard for them to push through that lower, dense energy of expectations and grief.
Right.
Yeah, exactly. He's showing it being like opposite-ended magnets pushing each other away. Getting through that vibration of expectation is really difficult. So he says a couple things for you to look out for to know when your daughter's with you. First thing is smell. Smell out of context, whether it's flowers, perfume, smoke, whatever it may be. Smell out of context to your environment that reminds you of her. He says that's one way that she's going to show you when she's near. Also through sound. And the way that he said that was he actually showed me like a piano and pushing down on the keys. So he's talking about her trying to connect to you through sound, whether it's sound in your homes or in your home, or actually hearing her and thinking you're hearing her talk to you. Believe in that and trust in that for all that it's worth, without doubt, without fear and question. He says to elaborate on the music element, though, of the visual. So, like I said, he showed me that piano, but if there's certain songs that you play that remind you of her, know that when you do, she's with you. That helps her connect to you. It helps connect and bond the energies. As far as like with the EVPs, this too is an element of sound. This is very easy for her, actually, he says. So if it's, whatever device you might use to try to record EVPs, I feel like this is going to be easy for her to manifest for you. He keeps saying, have you ever heard of a Frank's box or Frank box?
No.
I never have.
What was that, Elisa? Have you?
I never have. Have you, Kim?
I have. I can't remember if that's the right term or not, but he showed me a box with Frank on it, so I'm taking it very literally that he's calling it a Frank's box or a Frank box. So look it up, but this has something to do with helping to manifest EVPs or like the voice element to it. Gosh, it's really interesting. He's actually showing another similarity too, though. I don't know if you've heard Elisa share with us, as she has many times, of Erik actually leaving an EVP. Of course, it didn't record, but speaking through the answering machine.
I did hear one on this program a little while ago.
Yeah.
It said, listen out for Erik at such and such a time, and I heard him speak.
There's been many of those on the YouTubes and on the radio shows. Right, Carol.
Yeah, and so he's showing your daughter kind of doing the same thing too, like whether it's on an answering machine or voicemail, voice recorder. I think it's going to be more like he's showing me like a corded phone with an answering machine. So there's something about the energy there that.
What I've used for Erik and other loved ones is a digital recorder that has voice activation, so you can just keep it on for hours and hours, but it only picks up when it catches voices. Would that do her any good?
Yeah.
Erik's response is, he says, brilliant. He just says that one word. He says brilliant.
I've got one of those. I've used it once, so.
Awesome.
Okay.
Keep using it. Keep working with it. Keep trying.
Sorry?
You have to be patient. Sorry, you have to be patient sometimes. Sometimes, especially when you have strong expectations, sometimes you just have to keep doing it and doing it and doing it, and don't lose
It's
faith.
a bit of a paradox, isn't it? Because having these expectations, I'm trying to be positive, or that I will hear from her, but then I guess that's too much.
Yeah, and Erik is saying, too, just a little tip. Your emotions and your energy has a lot to do with it, too. So if you leave this digital recorder out and you're still carrying great despair, he says think about what your energy does to the surrounding environment. So if you're still in this great emotional despair and grief, it's still going to be hard for her to come through on that box, on that recorder. So if you feel like at nighttime, he says if you feel like at nighttime you're a little more calm, a little more at ease, or in the morning if your grief doesn't seem to be as heavy, he says try it then. If you're in the car driving and your grief isn't as heavy when you're in the car, try it there. He says be mindful of where your energy is as you use those devices.
Well, what about listening to your favorite stand-up comedian during, while you're trying to record? Sometimes that can lift your spirits and help the density of the energy not be too deep.
Exactly. He says, great suggestion, Mom. He says, anything you can do to lift your vibration, to raise your vibration, whether it's listening to...
I'm not without skills. I'm not without skills.
He says, whether it's listening to music, listening to comedic performances, drink a glass of wine, to calm yourself and relax, and whatever it may be. But that's maintenance. He says you have to continue those things to at least employ hope he says, and not be in a place of despair. He's
Yeah.
kind of rambling on and on, but
okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Sure.
I love you, Elisa. Everything you say makes me laugh. Every time I read that you write, I just love you.
I love you too, Carol. And Erik, can you help
Kim's
her?
face is just amazing.
Sorry?
Oh, thank you.
Erik, can you help her daughter communicate through the EVPs? Can you give her a hand? Mr. Chatty Cathy?
Yeah, he says, I can, Mom. He says, I am. And he nods his head like these tiny little nods up and down, like with great assurance. He's like, yep, I am. So he makes me feel like he's already working with her, already helping her.
He must have helped me get through to you tonight, so that's fantastic.
I think so.
He goes, oh, man. He opened his arms and he goes, duh. He's like, well, duh.
I think
that he has orchestrated every caller that's gotten on as long as the show has been on the air. I truly believe that.
Yeah.
Yeah, because something definitely woke me up apart from the alarm to get here on time. So thank you anyway. Get on to another caller, and thank you very much.
Yeah, you get some sleep. You need to go get some sleep.
Love you all.
Take care.
Okay,
love
thank
you, Carol.
Thank you very much.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
You know, I think those answers can help a lot of people who are trying to reach their loved one. That was such a fortuitous call.
True.
All right, let's take another call from the drum roll, please. 512 area code. Hey there, how are you?
Hi there, my name is Mark.
Hey, Mark.
Hi.
We finally got a guy on the line. This has been an estrogen explosion here on these calls. So, how are you, and what you got for Erik?
Okay, synchronicity working. I was laid off several months ago, and I'm 60 years old. There have been bouts of depression, but I don't want to get into all that. I'm positive about what I want to do as a profession to come along, and that's going to come along. It's been a while. I'm tired of waiting, but hopefully it'll get here pretty quick. But my question is, here in the holidays, what would really excite me is if I could know what I've done in a previous life that I could work on now in this life and excel, whether personally, spiritually, financially, however. But something that I could specifically, know about and work on it to see if I can improve it and make it better. Because I feel like I'm missing something I might have done in a previous life that I was really good at, but somehow I'm just missing it this time around, and that would really excite me. And Erik, shout out to you if you want to come by and tap me on the head with a 2x4. I'm pretty dense, so I'd love to hear from you.
Oh,
what a great question! I'm going to love hearing the answer to this one. Go for it, Erik.
Great question. First of all, he wants to address your comment about synchronicity. He's like, by the way, he says synchronicity is always happening. Everything is in sync. And that synchronicity from one thing to the next, to the next, to the next is mutual. It just is a matter of our level of conscious awareness to recognize it. He says it all depends on where our vibration is as far as seeing that synchronicity. If our vibration is there with it, no matter what it is, then we will see, experience, and acknowledge the synchronicity. So anyway, if you're not experiencing synchronicities, he says just hold out. He says don't give up. He says as you grow and evolve, you'll get there, I promise. And he's talking to just like everybody listening. Now, he says for you, he says in regards to a past life, he says, as you guys all know by now, he says, thanks to yours truly, thanks to myself, he says, everything's connected. Everything affects something else. So with that being said, your past life and things that you've done in your past life do have an impact on this life. He likes to call them other lives, not past lives, because that kind of makes time look linear, which he says it's not really. So in other lives, you are basically what he's showing you is literally showing you doing woodwork or like craftsmanship, because he says for you.
Oh, I've always wanted to do that so bad. I want to build furniture and all that, but I am so clumsy. My husband doesn't even allow me near knives, so I know I would just be like totally fingerless by the first set of, after the first set of drawers. So.
Yeah, he's showing you, Mark, being very fulfilled by making, creating, and building. And in past lives, other lives, you've been very handy at literally being able to bring life to objects that you can think up. It's like you think up a creation, an object, whatever type of furniture or piece of something it may be, and you create it, and that provides fulfillment. But it's not the thing that you're creating, it's the fact that you're creating. That's where the fulfillment is. But it's the tangibility, too. He says that when you combine the tangibility and the fact that you're creating, that's where you find the most fulfillment. And, of course, he says when we're most fulfilled, we're most successful. And then there's no more void, like you're missing something. So he says, for what it's worth, you in other lives, you've been very handy with your hands. You've been very creative, and he keeps using the word craftsmanship. Sawing, building, creating. He says, he's like rubbing his chin. He says, I think you should look into it. I don't know if you do anything like that right now, but he says, I think you should look into it or spend more time doing it if you already are.
Are we talking about practical pieces or artistic pieces?
More practical, because the things he's showing me
are
is
we
like.
Are we talking about having his own business?
This is his response. He says, not yet. But
okay.
I think he says yet is the key word. So I think eventually it will. He's kind of laughing and saying eventually it will become that, because when your business or when your passion becomes your business, you become like self-employed through that. But he says that you're somebody who you love trial and error, like experiment. You love experimenting. So like he's literally showing you building the same piece of something twice, but staining it different colors and going like, oh gosh, look what that color stain does to it compared to that, or does for it. So he's showing you being very experimental with it too. So it's the level of creativity along with the tangibility, using your hands. And
does he need to take a class? Do you think he needs to take a class, Erik?
He says it wouldn't hurt, as far as he says there's a lot that goes into building, but I feel like it's like little things. I don't feel like you're going to get into like home building or anything. It's like furniture pieces, like small sheds, swing sets, like things like that. So he says it wouldn't hurt, just because to grow your knowledge base on like pieces and parts that are handy for different jobs, like different types of metals and things like that. But as far as like motivation, he says you already have the creative inspiration within you to think up the next thing to build. So he says was there
anything in another life that happened in regards to this craft that may put up obstacles, like you cut off an arm or something like that, and now he's thinking, I don't want to do what? Woodworking? I don't want to do that.
He says nothing traumatic, but he says, you know that little word that we often use that's so important called balance? He says you didn't have the ability to know when to draw the line, know when to stop and call it a day. So I feel like you literally stayed up day and night working on your own projects, and in turn you got burnt out. You quickly, well not quickly, but you became disinterested after a while, And even though you create masterpieces, he says, because he shows you like carving too, like carving wood. You could create masterpieces. You weren't satisfied with it anymore because you never stopped. You never had balance with anything else. You never thought life and lived life outside of that. So
before we close, and then we need to close, if you feel a little foreign to this idea, understand that it could be the fact that you lost interest in another life because you did not have that balance. So thank you for calling.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks, Mark. Merry Christmas.
All right. I am conspicuous.
First of all, I want to tell you guys that you need to buy copies of Erik's book, My Life After Death, A Memoir for Heaven, because they will make wonderful, life-changing holiday gifts. Take it away.
It's so true.
Kim, tell us how people can contact you, or anything else you want to share.
Yep. Real quick, guys, I want to wish you guys all a Merry Christmas.
Me too.
You can reach me at kimbabcock.net. Feel free to send me a message, send me an email if you want to connect. But I thank you all so much for listening. And again, to Erik last week, thank you so much for recommending this topic. I think it's going to help a lot of people. And I hope all of you guys have a fantastic weekend.
I love you, Erik. Thank you so much, Kim. Bye, everybody.
You're
I love
so
you
welcome.
all.
Erik says, love you, Mom. He says, good night.
Good night. Thanks for
Bye-bye.
joining the show. Until next Thursday. Bye, folks.
Bye-bye.